Good morning to our IN domain show. Been off for a few weeks. I'm glad to have Shiva Kandula here. And Shiva is coming to us from London. And for those of you, many of you would have heard his name through conferences and online forums. And it's probably a good way to meet him here. And if you haven't heard him speak, and I'm excited to have Shiva. And also Shiva is probably one of the hardest working IN domainer that I know, and rightfully he also won the award for IN Evangelist recently when he was in India at Domain X conference. More than that, he introduced me to his online group, and I was on the sidelines. So thanks to Shiva, I'm more active these days. So again, welcome Shiva. Good morning.
Good morning, Suresh. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me on your show. It's been a great honor for me to be here, talking about .in names, especially. Just introduce a bit about myself to all viewers. I'm Shiva. I'm more passionate about .in mining, apart from my day job, which you guys, most of you are aware of it. So in terms of how it's like I born and brought up in a southern state of Andhra Pradesh. It's a remote village that's called Mutlur. I need to mention this because I'm always proud to say where I'm from.
Sure, yeah.
And I born and brought up there, Suresh. Then after that, I graduated in computer science and engineering from Andhra University, again in the state of Andhra Pradesh. Then after that, my job, I'm a software engineer by profession. My job is more about traveling and being consulting, So as part of that, I've been walked across different countries, mentioning US, and of course, been in London for 9 years. So it's a short journey, been experienced as I transition or move from one place to another place. It's always interesting to meet new people. That's something I always enjoy, traveling and meeting new people and talking about.
That's very valuable experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Living in different places, that itself gives you a different perspective.
Absolutely. I'm always happy to meet the people and have a conversation with them. Always listen to different perspectives. That's always makes me different. I always interested in that. Yeah.
Now, how did you get started with IN domains, Shiva?
I didn't remember how I really started, to be honest with you, because for me it's more of a hobby. But I can recollect a little bit story behind it. I think it was in 2006 when I was in California and working I was on a consulting assignment to work for a Californian client at the time. So I was having some free time, and like any other youngsters, I do have ambitions. I just passed out of my engineering college, and I've been uh, 2 to 3 years of experience, and I'm very much youngster, 23, 24 years. I'm thinking is it a consulting job? Why can't I start my own IT company, something like that? I was dreaming about entrepreneurship, which is always there in since my childhood days. So I was dreaming. Then I was come across a domain name called nimble.com. So it was actually owned by some other company, and the company was acquired by someone else.
Okay.
And they were not using it totally. So then I contacted them with the intention of buying it and see if I can use it, reserve it for my future business needs, because I want to keep my company name as Nimble Infotech. And I couldn't buy it despite of me offering around 2 to 3K. That was a huge money to me at that stage. And I was surprised, why? Maybe it's important for them. But also I tried for another domain, similar way. And again, I couldn't get it. Again, it was around $2,000. So I decided there is something in it, but I forgot about it, to be honest. Then I went ahead and registered my first domain, nimbleinfotech.com, just to keep, if ever my thoughts are mature into a real business.
Right,
but it's not kicked up, to be honest. That's how I got it. That was the first domain name I registered. Then I think I forgot about it totally. I think around 2008 I back to London. I have lots of free time because I was single at the time. In the evening I was doing like a bit of research and online, interested to see what's going on online, the domain names, because that seeds were already planted in my brain, like
Right.
in
Yeah.
2006. And I was thinking like there's something in it. Let me explore it. I was start exploring online. Then I came across different forums like namecross.com, then in forum, like there was another one called DN forum.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
I've been a member of all these three. I was really going through that and reading. After reading like a month or something different, it's like more of hobby at the time. So I just started registering a few domain names. I think my first registrations are like 3l.in names and
Okay.
3l.mobi, because I decided to step myself into .in and .mobi.
Hmm.
And within like 90 days to 120 days, I felt that .mobi is not something I'm very much attached to, but .in is being where I came from, and the
Sure.
.in represents for India. I felt that it's much an obvious choice for me to have .in with me, and let's exit from .mobi. I was lucky enough to exit .mobi. It's a small investment because I
Right.
was learning there.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
I
I
think
had a small
I
investment
joined a
with Mobi
.mobi
too.
forum and I just disposed all the 50 or 60 plus names I registered for .mobi. Then what I left with is the 50 plus triple L dot names. Then I have joined the in forum. That has changed my contacts, my network.
Mhm.
Totally I come across the lovely people there, like been quite helpful to me.
Right.
And I was like a newbie, and there are like many experiences and domainers were there, and they were talking about the domain investment, how do one can look at the future and look at the virtual real estate opportunities. So that's where like it's like a hobby for me still until 2010, 2011, but slowly it become the hobby is matured into passion, and still it was a hobby compassion at the
Hmm.
time. But now I have a lot, I mean significant, my savings are there.
Right.
So I need to really consider that as one of the mainstream of income, of making opportunities for me. So I'm a little bit more serious about that now.
Yeah. I mean, you started there, and now you're one of the largest holders of IN. So,
Yeah.
for those who don't know, right?
Yeah, I think perhaps I may not be the largest one, but there are like a lot of
One of the largest. Yeah.
but it's okay. Like I'm like a reasonable guy enough, among the dot in domain
Right.
investors. Yeah.
So, Shiva, the thing is, you recently visited India,
Yeah.
and 2 weeks ago, and I know you found a lot of things in India that's very exciting regarding .in. So maybe you can share some of what you saw and how you feel things are going on in India. So
Uh, Absolutely. I think the first thing I noticed is like when I landed in the Delhi International Airport. So then the first thing I looked after is like there are any dot names.
right.
So I think the first one I noticed is goindigo.in.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's like it's so huge. It's you can't stop noticing it. That's
Right.
the first one. But thereafter, I start walking in the airport little bit for 5 to 10 minutes until and I was, I mean, the intention of roaming and understand, say what's going on there in terms of .in space. So like I noticed lots of .in names are getting used. That's something quite different from, I think last time I visited Delhi was perhaps 4 years before, to be honest with you. And 4 years to now, it's a huge change.
Hmm.
The Delhi city, I noticed lots of .in names usage. Then I stepped into my taxi, like, I've been looking at the road. So I can see lots of billboards. I mean, like a little bit of kind of banners, kind of stuff
Hmm.
showing that the advertising, a lot of .in names are getting visible. It's showing, I think the .in is everywhere. It's the adoption rate is increasing, and I believe that the Nixie must be doing good job in terms of encouraging the small industries and all those guys using the .in names. At least I can see the adoption, maybe whatever reasons, but I can see the adoption rate is increased a lot compared to where it was 4 years before.
Sure.
Yeah.
And did you? I know you said you visited different parts of the country. You went to Hyderabad, and you also went to your village. Any usage out there?
I think I'm not sure. This is just my perspective, or this might be the reality. But the way I see it is southern India. I mean, especially I have visited two states only this time, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh,
Mhm.
and both the states I can see the. I mean, I was in India actually in the December 2015 for a month time. I roamed the whole South India, and I mean, it's like 8 months before, but this time I've been just to two states. But I can see that the South India side, the usage of .in is a lot. Especially, I can see the travel industry is a travel industry. It's full of .in names. Like it is unanimously the leading extension there. There is no doubts about it. And I can also see the small SMEs, small scale industries,
Mhm.
especially they are also start using the .in names. So overall, I felt that the consumption of the .in or the adoption of the .in is much more higher compared to the northern India. That's my view. But in terms of northern India, I have not visited so many states, so it might not be a fair comparison. But at least I can feel, at least because I roamed a lot about South India for, especially in December 2015 and August 2016. It's a gap of 8 months time. I can see the adoption rate is even changed within that 8 months time. So that's something the positivity I'm noticing. I hope like in a year time if I revisit and things might be drastically changed. Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that too when I was in India. Quite a bit of adoption, and things are moving at a fast rate, and it's nice to see. So
Yeah.
uh, now, Shiva, I know your groups. You run a blog called Our.in,
Yeah.
and you also have WhatsApp group that you were one of the founders, creators. So tell us a little bit about the membership or your blog, and I know you have a lot of members in your groups,
Yeah,
so from all over the world.
I think it's the first one. I need to give the credit to the inform.in, as I said earlier. That's where I start learning myself. I've been a newbie there, but I've been matured into a kind of reasonable qualified domainer.
Mhm.
So that's where the credit goes to Inforum. Thanks to Inforum and Jeff especially. And in terms of uh, uh, the groups I started, the WhatsApp groups, it's like basically WhatsApp is a new platform, and we can see that there is a lot of collaborative opportunities are possible. So especially the reason why I've seen that use case is I'm in like a 9 to 5 job guy. I go to my job at 9 and work until 5 sincerely. I'm
Mhm.
good at work. So when I'm working at office, I need to focus on it.
Sure.
But then after that, I need to also stay connected to the people living in different countries. Like it's like at 20 to 30 plus countries, because .in presence is in 228 plus countries,
Yeah,
right?
that's yeah.
We have people I mean 228 countries plus territories together. Like we have a huge presence of .in everywhere. At least my network is close to the people living in around 30 plus countries. So I need to stay connected to the friends and the kind of like-minded people who are like looking into and interested in in names. So that's where I felt that there is a need for us to have a collaborative platform. So Inforum is really great, but unfortunately I do not have enough time to focus on reading that, logging in every time. While I mean, what I felt that WhatsApp it can offer a little alternative collaborative platform. Those guys who might be busy, they can step in and can exchange few messages here and there.
Mhm.
And once you complete your working, I can go back and sit relaxedly for 15-20 minutes while having my coffee. I can just go through that in my computer, WhatsApp web to read
Mhm.
it, what's going on. That was my use case. Then I just shared this idea with, Umesh. And so I also noticed the similar use case already getting worked at DNOI, Domain Name Owners Association of India, because I've also joined that group as a
Okay.
member of it. So I felt that there is a reality. I mean, really, there is something. It's already working there, and I also feel there is a need. I just shared with Umesh, and we together has started that. William from UK, the first member. So we three were like started that. Then Umesh was a little aggressive. He went ahead, kind of requested every members to join. So thanks to Umesh.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
who was very instrumental in making that group functional in the first moment. And then it's like after that the word spread. And now we have members from 20 plus countries, talking and sharing their thoughts with each other. It's very good for me to, despite of me busy working across different things, and I still have some time for the groups and and
Yes,
stay
I mean,
focused
I
on it.
personally say it's
I
very
think,
valuable.
yeah, personally, I believe that those groups are really helped Dota and Extension a lot because it's kind of bringing the like-minded people together,
Mhm.
and giving them a platform to, exchange their views, discuss, argue, fight. There are
Mhm.
like several fights, arguments going on, but it's all good for Dota and end of the day because it's all the discussions is all about Dota and also people who ever want to sell may kind of exchange their names between the people. They can also exchange, it's like a data and exchange, data and discussion group. We it's like growing, and nowadays since it started, I can say that an average 1 to 2 members are joining the group every day. So it's a growing group, and in addition to that, so it is also, I mean, it's also give the positivity, and the key message is like, a lot of new guys are stepping in there. So
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
that's something the positivity. And coming to our dot in, it's like we again the groups are growing and growing. So I felt that. So it's not only limiting to group members who are part of the group, and also there are a lot of things we are discussing and debating in the groups. Let's put forward and start writing or blogging so that
Hmm.
people who are not part of this group still can understand what's going on. That's exactly the time. I mean, I had this chat with Tushar, the dot in, like and the similar way. I mean, Mahesh is doing a great job in domain market.in,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
he's doing a blogging. So we all like volunteers, or you can say dot in fans, the right
Hmm.
way. So we are just expressing you'll see the people after work they'll have a lot of hobbies, passion. The similar way my passion is dot in, after work.
Hmm.
I'll have little time every day, maybe alternative days, maybe once in a week, whenever I get some time. I'm just focusing on it and putting few words which I want to spread about .in, and maybe bringing some news about .in. For example, tracking the stats. I'm very much interested in understanding the number of .ins getting registered, number of drops happening. So publishing those information to the benefit of the whole community. That's where the the key focus I have made. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's very useful. It's just like I think we've talked about. We need more. We need good information out there for a lot of people who are not part of these groups to understand about IN.
Yeah.
And one of the things we always talk about is not enough IN sales are being published. So partly because there is not a lot of non-disclosure agreements, or people just don't want to disclose the sales. And,
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially because being I'm close to so many members, like I know the kind of transactions are happening. I can see that what is getting reported on the dot in is maybe 10% of the overall happening. It's less
okay.
than 10%. Maybe I can say, I mean, close to 5%. Yeah, 5% of what is really happening, because there's a lot more happening behind screens because of them. Once they've been used to each other, they'll do the regular deals, but I mean, also sometimes they're not allowed to report there. So, and also for whatever reasons, maybe but a lot of transactions are happening. So that's exactly the reason I'm quite confident and positive about the dot in. In terms of in future wise, it's really brilliant for dot in, whoever is following dot in extension.
And just want to touch upon, you were at the DomainX conference.
Yeah,
You and Inderpal Singh together gave a presentation
yeah.
about .in. So, what was the general acceptance of the
Uh,
audience?
First of all, that was the first presentation I ever gave related to the domain names, to be honest with you, and to all the members watching this. So, first of all, I need to pass my sincere thanks because I'm not very experienced in terms of giving the presentations. I mean, in the sense, I give my regular presentations at work, which is there, but when it comes to domain names, it's just an hobby compassion for me, and I never gave the presentations about Dominex. But I mean, I need to thank to the whole DNY crew, and especially the Dominex crew, being so nice and offering me an opportunity to speak about .in names. Especially that's something my passion, and also I'm fortunate to share the stage with the good friend Inderpal Singh. So I mean, the key thing what I noticed is the lots of youngsters were there. I mean, I can call young India. So those are the very exciting, vivacious people. I always love to interact because they're fresh in their thought process. So the way they're thinking at the future for .in and the way they're asking questions about .in, especially we got an opportunity to talk like for an hour, like end to end. But in terms of we had lots of conversations outside of the show, and I mean there were networking events happen until 4 a.m. in the morning also.
Oh,
I was talking to youngsters through coming all over India, and they've been talking and talking, and we have great networking time there. I did remember we were at the lobby of Shangri-La Hotel, and we were talking until 4 a.m. in the morning, and it's like lots of guys. I mean, they're all youngsters, like in the maybe early ages of 20, 21. Maybe some are like. As I met a guy, I mean, a boy, not a youngster. He's a boy because I said he's 13 or 14 years old.
wow.
So, like, there are like some girls just doing their college studies there. So they've been passionate about to understand to what is the opportunity they have in there, and and also most of them are very much nationalistic. That's something key there for
Mhm.
.in. So they want to see why myself to focus on anything else when .in itself is offering the opportunities, you know.
Sure.
So that's something I special noticed that I mean, Indians are in general nationalistic, which I also felt there. Like a lot of youngsters are very nationalistic about their .in extension.
That's
They're
good.
very
That's a
keen
good
on.
sign.
Yeah, it's a good sign, and it's a young nation. We lots of young population is there. Like approximately close to 50% of population is below 35 years age group. So at least I'm not brilliant in stats, but that's something I read or internet. So like there is lots of opportunity from that point of view. Yeah, it is really good. Apart from that, I also met lots of friends whom I'm talking face to whom I'm talking virtually for quite a long time. We are living in the virtual world, but I got an opportunity to talk directly to those people. That's something brilliant, and it is always good. And also there are some nice shows from other speakers. But when it comes to, I mean, .in is always has a huge space, and I see a lot of youngsters coming with nice T-shirts presented by Indie.
Oh,
So it's like I also got one from Indie.
yeah,
I
I
can
know.
see
That's a
that.
really
So,
good one. It's
yeah.
spreading.
So like it's a good atmosphere. It's positivity. What I love there is like the positivity, the vibrations of positiveness. Something I mean felt me very uh, um, optimistic, and also make me more confident about me promoting .in extension, while I'm also yeah, taking a little, I mean, converting my passion also a little bit of business opportunity.
Hey, Shiva, going back to the domains that you own, um, I know what would be your major portfolio? I know you like 3L domains. Is that would that be your major focus?
I like anything related to .in, to be honest. But my passion, I mean, because this is where my journey started. Because I always believe in that the India is a more of mobile nation. Like
Hmm.
you know, people like to use the internet. I mean, that it was the time in 2008. Ideally, we do not have this number of smartphones at the time, but I always believe in that. The .in in terms of 3Ls are like very easy for companies to use. It's like owning a shorter URL is similar to owning prime commercial land in the center of city. Like you want to build your complex there, you can build your complex. Like it's like if I wish my grandfather could have been bought few acres of land in the center of a major city, then I
Yeah.
could have been not come here like to London to work. Like I could have been developed and enjoyed it. That's exactly the thought process I had. So 3Ls are something for me. I mean, very much a prime commercial land in the center of city, which we can develop to a nice ventures in future. So that's how I say it. And keywords are obviously anyone, I mean,
Yeah.
anyone's interest. But before me stepping into keywords, most of the good keywords are already disappeared. There is a very little opportunity was there at the time because I was a bit late to the party. So my obvious focus at the time was, three L's, three N's. Three N's are also like, these are only 1,000 in number. And
Yeah, very
yeah,
short
when it
supply.
comes to it's a rare commodity, it's like
Yeah.
diamonds, obviously. So the usage wise, it's not much. I mean, I did a research about that, how much 3N usages are there. Perhaps 2 months before, and I realized that around 6%, 4.4%, sorry,
Okay.
4.4% is in use, 44 names. So it's like it's not big, but most of them are owned by the investors
Mm.
who will not let them go.
Yeah.
So they always ask for the premium prices. They have thoughts to develop them into future projects. So 3Ns are like a rare commodity. I mean, which is very difficult to get it for until unless one shed a decent money for them. And I focused more on the 3Ls and 3Ns and
Mhm.
then keyword.n. And I also has a special eye for the geo names
Okay.
because the geo names are not very sought after today because I've been renewing for like few years, and I have like a couple of nice geo names, so which I want to develop them mostly.
Like
And I
what,
also,
Shiva? Any names you
yeah,
can mention?
I want a name called AndraPradesh.com. I just want to develop that one,
Mm-hmm.
and along with all the geos and few other. Now I also had a network, few other friends who are owning the key geo names. Then
Okay.
we might together will launch something together one fine day. So that's the plan. So I really like the geo names personally because there is a potential to develop it.
Mm-hmm.
We can also offer some services to the people there. So it's all about Seva, like end of the day, what is the service we can offer out of
Right.
these needs. That's the value. Money will follow automatically as long as we offer good service. Like we have thoughts for that, developing some of the geo names too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, geo names, you can't go wrong, if you,
Yeah.
because people are going to look for information about a city or a town, when they're moving in or finding services or restaurants or, all those things. Local.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
like absolutely. There any geo name. Personally, I like any geo name above 100K population, which can be converted into a decent website, and then we can start offering some services.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if we really look at the number of internet users, the India is spearheading very quickly. It's already the second largest internet nation. Like
Right.
if
Yeah.
you look at officially it's 402 million as per the IAMI,
Wow.
December 2015, but now it's close to 470, 480 million, and it's heading fast because you really look at it, the first 100 million internet users happened in 2011. So when the internet started, we all know, like ages back, maybe 20 years
Mm-hmm.
before that. So, but when it comes to the first 100 million internet users, it took that long.
Right.
From 100 million to 482 million, you see how much time it took. The similar way I see for .in. .in has 6040 number of domain names in 2005. So when it's went for first time, it allowed for public registration. So now it's close to 2.5515. I mean, actually, 2 million 153K this
Mm-hmm.
morning actually. So if you really look at it, it's a kind of growth of 2.15 million. It's not like a speculative, or it's not like somebody pushing that extension because it's run by a non-profitable organization.
Right.
Nixie does a brilliant job, but they do not do loads of promotion in terms of in terms of unwanted promotion. So
Mm-hmm.
they does focus on what is need to be promoted, what it need to be not promoted. I think so. Recently, IT Ministry has given a slogan, ditch.com and focus on .in extension.
Mm-hmm.
And as it's a part of digital India, like make in India, startup India, stand up India, and all these projects are really run by government organizations. There's great initiatives. They're all working in collaboration to promote, I mean, look for the opportunities to promote .in. So there is a lot of .in promotion is happening within government organizations. Most of the government organizations are moved from the non .in extension to .in extension.
Mm-hmm.
There is still a little bit of proportion of them to still need to go. So in addition to that, even if we really look at the number of government organizations to just start having a website, itself is maybe million or 2 million names, So
Yeah.
that's exactly where the next CEO, Mr. Raju Bansal, who is doing a brilliant job,
Okay.
went ahead and told everyone that ditch.com, start using .in. It's a very aggressive move and very much needed for India. And Mr. Bansal has done a brilliant job in that way, and so just imagine that 1 million .ins are getting used by, you know, government organizations, how much awareness, and every citizen has to consume
Right.
government service, some
Yeah.
means or form, right?
Hmm.
So .in is very much part of everyone's people's lives. There is always a discussion. I say that most of the people ask me this, oh, isn't it India is all after .com, yeah? Oh, come on, guys. Yes, it is after .com because .com is the first extension which is available for public use.
Hmm.
So there is no doubts about it. I'm not saying that .com is not there. .com is the post extension which is available. I've grown up. I start my usage of internet with .com name, right?
Right.
So I see most of the guys who was born and brought up start with .com in my age group, but you need to look at the future, right? .com has close to 126 million names, and out of that, who is owning majority of them? 76 to 77% are owned by Americans. It's American CCTLD, not anyone else. Even though you call GTLD, like American economy has grown in a huge way. Obviously, everybody who has invested on .com has benefited. I do have lots of .com names too, but when it comes to India's extension, .in is the default Indian extension, and it will remain, and it will be the future of Indian domain extension. And if you really look at it, easily .com alone, US owns 96 million names, with US residents owning 96 million names. So
Wow.
overall, US domain names itself is over 100 million names. The similar way, China has close to 50 million domain names. Where is India? India is around 7 million
Seven
domains,
million for a
right?
population of 1 billion, right?
So
Yeah.
there is a huge opportunity, right?
Right.
One need to look at the future. So most of the guys in forums, it's so interesting. The reason is when I look at the forums and having these conversations, most of the guys will look at look at the name biodata and this many number of transactions have happened. Isn't it going to assure you that in future the same thing will repeat for that? Because the adoption is happened because everything has a timing associated with that. If I registered, I mean, if somebody has lots of .in domains registered in 2005, it was not a good time perhaps because the infrastructure is not ready. The
Hmm.
people are not there. It's not ready for the consumption, right? So you need to wait. That means you need to wait. If you're not ready to wait, then it's not right thing for you, right? The similar way, now the infrastructure is ready. 480 plus million population are using, and still there is a room for adding another 400 500 million population, coming onto the infrastructure. And there is a damn cheap 4G services are getting
Yeah,
offered.
that's
I
important.
was in Delhi airport. I want to make a call to my family. Then I just purchased a 200 MB data pack for 20 rupees, which you translate it, it's costing less than 50 cents. It's 30 cents in reality,
Hmm.
it's so cheap. Data is available. It's much cheaper than the Western countries, the developed nations. So, and also I see that there was, I mean, we discussed about the Delhi trip, right? That's why, uh, I seen that people are using Reliance Geo,
Hmm.
and one of my friend gifted me to use Reliance Jio while I'm moving in the country. Then I was using that 4G services in my village when I went to Andhra Pradesh, and it's offering close to 25 to 30 Mbps speed. Come on, man, I can't get that kind of speed on my Vodafone service in London city. So most of the guys argue that where is the speed? Yeah, there was a speed problems. I'm not saying that, but what I noticed is that there is a tremendous technology advancement is happening in related to the infrastructure. Do we have the similar infrastructure in 2005? Number of users and
No,
the
not
number
even
of
close, right?
the
Yeah.
speed and the number of devices?
Yeah.
No, not at all. That's the difference. As an investor, one need to look at the future, right? So what's the timing? So what is really going to offer them in coming months? That's something was always people miss, and we'll look at the statistics. The statistics gives the good history, but it not always gives the 100% plan towards the future. You can use the good history to understand how .com will perform and think about it. What are the opportunities available in .in? For example, .com, an average, it's costing, I mean, even the lowest quality one is costing 20,000 USD.
Wow. Yeah.
So .in is coming less than 200 USD, which is like 1% of it. So even if .com is preferred, do you think the businesses will go and buy that? Not at all, right? People need to think about it. .in is for India, and .in is the way forward for India. Of course, .in can be used in other forms, like you can use it like Honda .in Europe, Honda in Europe,
Right.
Honda in America, Honda in India. So you can also use it as a domain hack, and also something like you can use it as a domain like hack like Berlin, Berlin in Berlin, right?
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, you can also use it in different forms or shapes. Like that's the reason it's not even debatable. Somebody to say .com is more India, .in is not there. Yes, .com was the one first released and available for businesses. They developed on that. Now .in is there. All the new companies coming up, they have an opportunity to develop in .in. And if they really want to go to global and they have lots of customers located outside, they can afford to buy .com name also. But primarily .in is for India, and .com will turn to be a secondary extension there.
Yeah, it's very
That's my
interesting.
perspective, guys.
Yeah.
Whoever is watching, it's just my perspective. Like I'm just sharing what I believe in, right? I could be right or wrong. I'm just sharing what I believe in. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd see like most countries like UK and Germany, they all
Yeah,
use their country code
absolutely. But for
predominantly.
example,
Yeah.
if I search anything in UK, I'll get .co.uk. I'll not get .com links. The similar way, like if you look at Germany, if we go to Munich or somewhere and trying to search something, I'll see .de websites everywhere. The similar for .cn. If you really look at .cn, it's having 20 million registration approximately.
Hmm.
Oh, where was .cn in 2012 or 2011? Maybe 2 to 3 million registrations, right?
Yeah, that's
So you not got the same growth in the previous years, right? So obviously there is a timing for anything. That's the key thing. The timing is the most important thing one needs to remember while they're focusing on any business. It's not different from .in names, yeah.
so. Shiva, we're closing towards the end of the show.
Sure.
So, any advice for new domainers? I know you have a lot of experience these days, and you talk to a lot of new domainers. But if new people are coming into this, what is your advice?
I think, to be honest, if I'm a newbie entering at this time, it is very difficult, right? Because possibly 1,000 plus new GTLDs are there.
Yeah.
So they've been very aggressive. Lots of private registries are approaching and saying like, "Oh, you do the good work for us. Like we'll give these many names for free." Yeah. So like people are offering 1 cent registration, for example, .xyz. So a lot of confusion is there. Like when we were doing
Confusion.
like it's like
Yeah.
.com, .net, .org, and .co.in. That's something the first confusion when any newbie will come across. So my only sincere advice is like experiment, no problem. I mean until unless one experiment, they cannot find things different. But what is more important is while selecting an extension, you need to look at the fundamentals, right? The key fundamentals one need to look at it is so why anyone else use this extension? Because the foremost important factor is what are the I mean, who are the people going to use it? What percentage of the people? What are the numbers associated? For example, I can tell you .in is 1.25 billion population now. Maybe 2050, maybe 1.5 billion population. It's
Mhm.
growing. Yeah, there
Yeah.
is an opportunity. It's far from saturation. So look at like somebody might say .xyz. For me, like I can't see any use case there. What is for .xyz? Isn't it .crap for me? Like I mean, no offense for saying that. It's I'm not meaning to offended for .xyz extension, but this is my personal opinion again. So the way I see it is, one need to look at the use case. The use case is like what is all about this domain extension. I always believe in the legacy GTLDs and the new CCTLDs. This is what my belief, So it doesn't mean that new GTLDs has no business opportunity. Something you can always explore it. Personally, I will try, if I'm a newbie, at least while I'm learning, I will stick to something the standard extensions to begin with, then book some small amount of names or maybe buy some small amount of names in the aftermarket. Then, I'll try to split them, see that how the rest of the guys will react to that. And if I see that the trend is nice and I'm making a little bit of profits out of that, then there is some power associated in that. Then focus on it. Of course, at the end of the day, end users, offering the services to end users, you know, possibly like you can also look at, you can develop the website and can sell as a website. There is lots of opportunities out there. Everybody has their own strategy. The best one is to stick to the fundamentally strong extension. Selecting the right extension is very important, and then keeping the controls on the finances and make sure that bet on something which you're ready to lose. Don't invest something which you can't afford to lose.
Right. Yeah.
So, because as part of learning, everybody lose money. Like I did lost some money because it was a hobby. I'm playing a role. The third one is always follow some. Don't follow anyone blindly, but at the same time follow people to look at what they're
Yeah.
doing and
Yeah,
how
that's a
they're,
tough one,
progressing. And then you make your own decision based on the data
Right.
and read as much content as possible. So you lots of name pros in forum.in groups everywhere, join, spend time, read as much data as possible. There's lots of nice blogs by several domainers, so subscribe to them. So these are very high level. These are my thoughts, Suresh. I hope this is suggestion helpful to the newcomers.
Yeah, that's really good suggestions. I think, and I'll close with two things, Shiva. One is ICANN meeting in Hyderabad coming up.
Yeah.
I know you talked about that. Do you plan on going to that one or?
ICANN is happening in Hyderabad. The reason is I'm not sure really I can make it. I have some personal challenges at the time.
Sure. Yeah.
But if I have an opportunity to visit, certainly I'll make it. But I'm most likely planning to be attending the Las Vegas NamesCon.
Right. Yeah, that's the other one I was going to ask you. Yeah.
So that's something I'm excited. ICANN is very much happening in Hyderabad in India. I would love to visit because Hyderabad is like my second home.
Yeah. Right.
So it's like I'd love to be there to meet the friends, and a lot of family members are living there too. But I think I have a personal challenge visiting India at that time. So very likely the Las Vegas in NamesCon
Yeah,
January.
the NamesCon one for the first time. For the first time, they're having an India forum. So that's a good thing.
Absolutely, yeah, exactly, because it's sponsored by InRegistry.
Okay.
It's sponsored by government. It's just getting hosted by InRegistry directly.
Oh, is that
So
right?
and they're also doing some kind of promotion on that. So it's I mean .in registry is really working hard. So apart from, there is something always going on and related to the NDRP improvements and all, which we always ask for. Sincerely, like I'm also making a request through this one. So INDRP need to go for reforms, and INDRP 2.0 is the something reasonable request from all of the guys. The one thing I also publicly telling everyone: don't go after, especially to newbies, don't go after the brand names. Don't try to take away someone else's brand or trademark names. It's 100% cyber squatting. So we are never encourage anybody to take over someone else's advantage of someone else's brand. So focus on generic names, trying to own cars.in or maybe rent.in, maybe rail.in, something very very generic. Don't go for someone else's cyber squatting. Be aware of the legal challenges you will face too. This is something I missed to advise to the newcomers. Sorry, I'm just recollected.
Yeah, that advice is, for always needed, right? So.
Absolutely, yeah. Because one need to be aware of the financial, legal, and all these implications before stepping in. Yeah.
Shiva, I think we are closing in now. So thank you very much for joining today. And this was, our first effort to talk. Maybe we'll have more future shows. Have you on with other people.
Absolutely, absolutely, Suresh. I would like to just take one last moment from here. I would like to thank Peter Panchik from Poland because he was my domaining guru who has helped me in the first place, and I would also like to thank Howard.in team, so who are helping me, selflessly
Hmm.
putting their effort in terms of blogging, and especially I like a the youngster from India like Jashan Singh, and who was very passionate about it, and also the whole Our Dot in crew, so who are doing a lot of good work in the behind the screens. So in addition to that, so all the WhatsApp group members, thank you so much. You've been brilliant, and you've been quite helpful to me where I am today. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Shivan. Have a great day.
Yeah, thank you, Suresh.
Okay, bye. Hi, thanks for listening to the interview with Shiva Kandula. And there was a slight correction. Shiva mentioned that IN Registry is involved with the NamesCon in Las Vegas. No, they're not involved with NamesCon. There's a slight correction. They're involved with the ICANN meeting in Hyderabad, and that was a thing he wanted to correct. I was in India for a couple of weeks in the last couple of weeks ago, and a lot of positive trends in India. And I think it gave me the impression that India is at exactly in the early stages of e-commerce. Though some people are buying online and buying products, most of the companies are have websites, and they're looking for that next step. Start selling products and services online. And I was pleasantly surprised at things that are going on, and particularly younger generation. They're a lot more adept at using the technology, and so it's only a matter of time before a lot of people catch on. The good news is I saw reports of Google looking to bring on 1 billion people in India online, and they are very active in getting railway stations and such with Wi-Fi. So you have Google on one hand trying to get people online, and then you have Amazon, who is I saw reports in the newspaper trying to get suppliers who make products into their platform. So those are all great moves. And then you also have Reliance and other mobile companies who are looking to sell 4Gs and the smartphones to people. So you can see there's so many different angles to this, and as everything comes together, I think it's going to be a great market in India, clearly for the next decade or longer. So great news if you own IN domain names or COIN domain names. I want to talk a little bit about that because we just recently saw an announcement of cycle.in sold for 16.5 thousand dollars, and that's a great sale. When something like that sells, I always wonder how do the other names like cycle.co.in or cycles.in and cycles.co.in, how are they valued, and what happens to those, and would there be interest in the market for those? So those are all good things to think about in terms of how this market is going to move forward. I also had a recent inquiry about one of the domains I own, which is an automotive product domain name. It was a COIN domain name, and interestingly enough, the after I got the inquiry and I gave them a price, the buyer hasn't come back, but that's fine. They actually said they're also looking at .in version of it. So they went. I think they talked to the IN owner, domain owner, and what happened was it looks to me that IN domain owner actually ended up buying another spelling of the same product, an American spelling of the same product name. So in this case, we have an English spelling and American spelling of the same product, and you have the singular and the plurals, and the IN and the .coin. So you have 8 different combinations for premium names in a particular niche in this case. So those are all these different things that you can look at when you're looking into getting into domaining. Again, I'd like to remind those who've watched our episode that we have been doing this for a little bit. We've done our research, and we're constantly learning. So when you are getting into this for the first time, always do your research, and don't assume that every domain is going to be similarly valued. No two domains are valued the same. And so think about it as how these things can be used by end users and the market in India and overseas. So all those things come into play when you're valuing a domain name. And with that, I'd like to end the show. Thanks for listening. We'll try to be back with more domainers from around the world talking about .in and .coim.